guys, welcome back. So we're going to go through the last portion of today's lesson, okay, to cover the concept about connecting to wide area networks. So today, the last part, I will show you all the different wide area network technology. So just to quickly recap what we've done in the very, very early part at 1 o'clock, we talked about extended ACL, okay, and then at the end of it, okay, you guys went for a break. When you come back, okay, we went through this particular concept called hierarchical network design. And we say that the network design basically follows engineering principles, okay, to follow the principles of hierarchy, modularity, resilience, and so on. Okay, so now the next portion we're going to go through is the portion about wide area network. This is chapter 2. It's written here as chapter 2. So let's go through what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover what are the wide area network technologies, okay, that is available today, and how to select a typical wide area network technology. Okay, so these are the only two things that we're going to cover for this lesson. Right, let's go through the concept about wide area network. Do you know what's a wide area network already by now? Anybody don't know? Silence means you don't know. Anybody wants to be able to help to explain what they understand by wide area network? Yes, who's that? Yes, you want to try to answer? What do you understand by wide area network? No? Basically, a wide area network, it is a network. It's a type of network. Okay? Again, like what I said, when we talk about standard and extended ACL, we have to look at what's the difference. The difference between this standard and extended is the ability to filter traffic, okay, at more granular level. But we talk about local area networks versus wide area network, okay, wide area network is a network that goes beyond a geographical boundary, okay, that is already covered by a LAN. That means it's a bigger network. So a local area network may cover maybe just one room or one classroom or maybe just one building, okay. But when we talk about a wide area network, we are connecting networks, okay, that is maybe spanning the globe. So you have computers that are in Singapore trying to communicate to computers that are in the United States, or computers that is in Japan, okay, is trying to communicate to computers that are in China. So it goes beyond the geographical boundary, not only political geographical boundary as in countries, okay, it also goes beyond the geographical scope of a definition of a local area network. So that's why each time we have a wide area network, you notice for packet tracer, we've been using, okay, this thing called a serial cable to connect. And then we always use router to connect between routers. So typically when we want to talk about local area network, the connection that we use is always the Ethernet connection, okay, the Ethernet ports. Whenever we talk about wide area network, okay, the connection that we are always using is called the serial ports, okay, the serial ports between routers. So this is one difference between a local area network and a wide area network. So one is that it operates beyond the geographical scope of a local area network, okay. And what's the objective? It is basically interconnecting all the LANs together. So in a typical location, for example, in ITE, then you can have many LANs. LANs means local area network. So you can have the school of EIT has one local area network by itself. The school of business have another local area network by itself. And then the school of engineering, another local area network by itself. So all these individual local area networks are going to be interconnected to other local area network that exist somewhere else in the world, okay, beyond that own scope of a LAN, a definition of a LAN. All right, and a wide area network is usually owned by a service provider, okay, service provider. And then if you want to connect or you want to use the services that's provided by the service provider, then you have to pay to connect the sites. Okay, so this is why we use a wide area network. Okay, so in the first place, if I have to pay to use a wide area network, okay, why should I pay? So it must be so necessary that I want to use the service, right? Then I will pay for it. Let's say, for example, you want to buy a car, you want to drive on the road, you must pay a road tax. So if you don't pay a road tax, then you cannot drive on the road. So it is necessary for you to pay a road tax, okay, even though you have to pay money because you want to use the service. And this is the service you want to use, okay? So why are WANs necessary, or why are wide area networks necessary? Okay, one simple reason is that businesses, okay, they would like to communicate among each other, and the businesses are not located in one particular location only. Businesses are separated around the globe. Okay, they are separated around the globe. So you have branch offices, you have regional offices, you have HQ offices, and so on. We want to be able to communicate and share data. And also, organizations want to share information with other customer organizations as well. Okay, and also, for example, if I'm a mobile worker, so now imagine in a lockdown and I'm stuck in maybe one country, I'm stuck in maybe in Japan. I cannot come back to Singapore. And I need to access information that is located somewhere else in the world. So the only way for me to do it is to connect via a wide area network. All right. So that's why, even though a wide area network would involve some form of cost that you need to pay to the service provider, okay, it is a necessary cost. All right. So home computer users, okay, today you want to be able to buy things over Shopee, Lazada, okay, Taobao, AliExpress, Amazon, and so on and so forth. Okay, so consumers communicate over the internet with banks, with shops, okay, with a variety of service providers as well, goods and services. Okay, and for students, the library information that you wish to use maybe exist in a university that is located in the United States. You want to be able to access the library literature from that particular university, for example. So that's why you need to use a wide area network. Basically, the need is there, okay? The people needs to communicate, needs to access the services that are not locally available, okay? So in today's world of digitalization and so on, you realize that having network connectivity, okay, sometimes is very, very important in a person's life. Okay, especially teenagers now, youngsters. I think if you don't have internet or network connectivity for you to be able to post things on Instagram, okay, or YouTube, what will happen to you? Basically, you find that your life is worthless, right? And you say, my life is worthless because I got no Wi-Fi. I can fast, don't eat, but I need to eat Wi-Fi. You know, that kind of thing. So you need internet, right? So that's why wide area network today is feeding, okay, the needs of communication and the needs to be able to access goods and services that are regionally available. Okay, not locally available, they are available somewhere else. So another reason why you want to have a wide area network is that as a company grow in size, okay, so as the company grow in size, you may not have all your employees working in one location, okay? So for example, if you're a news provider, if you watch television, if you watch Channel News Asia, you realize that they have reporters all over the world, right? So if something happens to China, Henan, for example, is inundated with flood. So you notice that this particular lady will be reporting. She'll be traveling from Beijing all the way, and then she will report. Okay. If something happens to Indonesia, you have a local representative of Channel News Asia in Indonesia to be able to report to you about what's happening. And if you have something happening in Malaysia, then you have someone who is based in Malaysia to be able to report back to you. So as the company grow in size, okay, you have teleworking, okay, people who are being based elsewhere, and sometimes, okay, people are forming virtual teams. I have a member maybe in Singapore, another member in US, another member maybe in India, for example. They're all working together as virtual teams. Even today, the lesson that I'm carrying out, okay, imagine if I have a student who is not located in Singapore, somewhere else in the world, that particular student would also be able to attend the lesson. Okay, so as the company grow, okay, you want to increase productivity, you want to cut costs, okay, you want to be able to achieve this network connectivity. So that's why distributed networks, okay, is coming out as a result of this need for companies or organizations to communicate with one another when they grow. So we say that site-to-site and remote access, okay, would enable the company to use the internet to connect to one another and facilities around the world. Network must be able to adapt and grow as the company grows and changes. Network designers and administrators, okay, have to meet these challenges by carefully choosing network technologies, their protocols and the service providers, and then of course optimizing the network. So if I am an organization, I have branches all over the world, of course I would like to choose the best network connectivity and also the cheapest, okay, and also the one that solves my problem. Okay, so that's basically the purpose of wide area network. Okay, now we want to know where is this wide area network in the scheme of the OSI model. So we know that in the network technology, we talk about the OSI, the Organization of Standards International dictates that there are 7 layers, okay, when we talk about networking. So where is wide area network sitting in these 7 layers? All right, so typically in this diagram, if you look at the slides, it says here, wide area network access standards. Okay, it typically describes both the physical layer delivery methods and the data link layer requirements. So physical and data link, that's the keywords, including physical addressing, flow control, and encapsulation. Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is that if you talk about wide area network and services, we are looking at the lowest 2 layers. So we are looking at the physical layer and the data link layer. Okay. So at the physical layer, we talk about all the connections. Okay, the electrical connections, the mechanical connections, the operational connections. Then when we talk about the data link layer, we talk about the protocols. Okay, the protocols that's being used, whether it's a HDLC protocol, PPP protocol, frame relay, Ethernet WAN, MPLS, VSAT, broadband, and so on. We will cover one of these protocol in detail. Okay, in the next lesson on Thursday, we will cover point-to-point protocol. One of the protocol that is being used in a wide area network. There are so many of them. Okay, we will not be covering every one of them. We'll be covering point-to-point protocol. Okay, so we'll be covering a representative of the wide area network protocol. Okay, so there's this particular technology, okay, when I talk about operations, there's this particular technology known as circuit switching. Okay, so circuit switching is one of the wide area network technology today. So if I am an organization, right, I would need to make a decision whether I would like to adopt this technology or not in my organization. Because this technology is a wide area network technology, I can adopt it or I can use any other technology that suits, okay, my requirement. So first we need to understand what is circuit switching. Okay, so circuit switching is a technology where a physical circuit needs to be set up between source and destination. So let me give you an example. If I am this particular phone A, and I wish to communicate to phone B, okay, before the ringing can take place, I must set up, okay, a pathway between phone A to phone B. This is called circuit switching. I must predefine a pathway between phone A and phone B. So any communication that takes place will only take place on that particular circuit. So this is called circuit switching. Okay, all packets will travel on the same circuit. Then at the end of the communication, okay, once the communication is over, the circuit is disconnected. Okay, so two of the most common types of circuit switching technology, wide area network switching technology, okay, that you can find today is the public switch telephone network. We call it the PSTN. Okay, public switch telephone network. When you want to make a call, okay, you must be able to have a pathway between the source and the destination. Then once you finish making a call, you hang up, okay, the circuit is disconnected. This is circuit switching. Another one is an integrated services digital network. Before, in the past, when I worked in an environment where I need to set up networks, okay, one of the early services that we set up was the ISDN. Okay, so before anyone on my end can communicate to outside, someone must connect to the internet first. Someone must start. Once somebody has started the connection, then everybody can connect. This is integrated services digital network. This is an example of a circuit switching. Another one, okay, is known as packet switching. Okay, in a packet switching, okay, what happens is that there is no need for you to predefine a path for the packet to travel on the internet, to go from one source to the destination. So the definition says, in packet switching, no fixed path will be taken by packets. Packets that are routed over a shared network, okay, will find an available pathway to go to the destination. Packet switching allows many pair of nodes to communicate over the same channel. Okay, this is something different. Okay, so this is different from circuit switching. Circuit switching, you have to predefine the path, then you make the conversation. At the end of the conversation, the path gets disconnected. In packet switching, okay, you don't have to predefine the path. You use whatever available path that can lead to the destination. This is called packet switching. Okay, so these are the two wide area network technologies that you have to be familiar with. Okay, so first, let me quickly recap. So first, we were talking about, okay, what is a wide area network, right? What is a wide area network and why is there an argument for us to use a wide area network? All right, then after that, okay, we describe the scheme of things. Where does the wide area network exist in the OSI layer? So it exists in the data link and the physical layer. And then we talk about the two well-known technologies today for wide area network. One is known as a circuit switching. All right. The other one is known as a packet switching. So far, is there anybody who wants to clarify anything regarding what I have covered? I've talked about what is a wide area network.
There's two types of switching, right?
Yes, two types of switching.
There's packet switching and circuit switching, right?
Yeah. Yes, correct. You are correct.
Then like if they ask what type of like, switching is used in switch networks, will the answer be packet switching and circuit switching?
In switch networks, yes. The answers are circuit switching and packet switching, but I don't think they will ask like that. They probably ask you which type of switching technology would be more appropriate in what circumstance. They'll probably ask something like that. Given a scenario, okay, what kind of switching technology would be more appropriate for you to use? We will go through with that. We will go through. You are
application question.
Yes, correct. So if you talk about circuit switching and packet switching only, we are only talking about what are the available technology that we can use. Okay. So the next question will be, which technology should I use? That should be the next question. So we will go through that. Okay, we go through that in selecting the correct technology. This is this part. Okay, so Michael, I'm going to, good that you asked this question, because I'm going to dive into selecting the appropriate wide area network technology. Okay, so now take a look at this particular diagram here. Okay, so in a wide area network, right, today, okay, you can break them up into a private wide area network. You must be very rich, to be able to afford a private wide area network. Okay, because the wide area network, number one, spans across geographical boundaries. So you must really own all the connection from Singapore all the way to USA, for example. Then it's private, it's yours. Another one, okay, is called a public wide area network technology. Public means that you are using the service provider's technology. So you want to connect to the internet, you go and buy a network from maybe StarHub. Okay, then after that, StarHub wants to connect to USA. StarHub has its own partner in somewhere else, maybe Pacific Ocean first before it connects to the USA. So these are considered to be public wide area network access. Private means you own everything. Let's say, for example, Michael, I'll give you an example of a private technology. You want to travel from Singapore to California. How do you travel? Do you buy a car and drive?
Plane.
Take a plane. Whose plane? Do you buy a plane and fly?
Like you drive, like you buy a plane, like you buy to.
We'll make sure the
buy
backup
to
is.
sit on the plane.
You buy what? A plane. Then you must be very rich. If you can afford one whole plane, you must be able to. Yeah.
If let's say she say don't have.
You need a plane to transport you there.
Correct. So you need to buy a plane. You need to buy a pilot to fly you, right? So this is if you can afford. If you can afford, you buy a plane, you buy a pilot, then the pilot brings you. That is called private. You buy your own jet, so you can afford. But if you cannot afford, what do? You travel on Singapore Airlines. You travel on Qantas Airlines. You travel on American Airlines. You buy a ticket. If you cannot afford, you buy a ticket. So you take the ticket, go to the aeroplane, and the aeroplane, inside the aeroplane got other passengers, right?
Yes.
You're not the only passenger, right? So this is called public. So in a wide area network that is public option, right, you are using something that everyone else is also using. This is public. So you must understand the wide area network connection. Now, one is private, means you own everything, including the aeroplane. The other one is that you only buy the ticket, you only buy the seat for you to fly. That's all. This is public usage. Okay. So if you own everything, you can own everything, then it's called dedicated. Dedicated, okay, whenever you want to travel, you just use your own private jet and then you fly. This is dedicated, it's yours. So the lease line, the whatever connections and so on that you use is all yours. This is private dedicated. Another one, all right, you can have a private, but you can share with a group of people, like a time sharing. Okay, just like a time sharing. Time sharing means, like, for example, I use this house in January, somebody used this house in February, another person used this house in March, for example. Okay, so this technology is called switching technology. Switching technology. So switching technology is actually a private technology. Okay, private technology, you still have to pay for the services, whether you're using a circuit switching or using a packet switching. Okay, so if you're using a circuit switching, we are using this technology called the PSTN and the ISDN. And if you're using a packet switching, there are other packet switching technologies like the Ethernet, MPLS, frame relay, ATM, Metro, and so on and so forth. So there are a few packet switching technologies here. So these all form under private, okay, private wide area network options. So the switching falls under private wide area network option. So if you are a big organization, okay, you may decide to use either circuit switching or packet switching. But if you are, for example, what do you call it, the founder or the owner of Amazon and so on and so forth, you may want to have an aeroplane that flies to the moon and sit. It's yours, dedicated. Nobody else can sit on. Okay? Switching means you share. A few companies share. Okay? So for example, it's too expensive, so you share. This is switching, so you can switch. Another wide area network access technology is called public. So public is where, okay, you buy a plane ticket and you sit in an aeroplane full of other people who also sit in an aeroplane with you. So this is public. And today, what is today's public technology? It's your internet. So internet today that you see is public because from your phone, from your computer, you can actually connect, okay, to US, to China, to Japan. Not only you, other people also can connect. They all buy from the service provider. So in Singapore, if there are 5 million population connected to the internet, these 5 million people are actually using a service provider's network. Unless they own the whole network, then it's private. So today, we all fall under this category of public wide area network access, which we are usually using broadband. Okay, broadband, or we use VPN. Okay, and the technology that we've been using so far is either wireless, okay, like your phone, wireless, or your TV, okay, or your DSL. Okay, today they didn't put another one called the fiber. Okay, fiber networks. So these are the technology that you can use to access the wide area network. You can use private technology or public technology. These are the wide area network options. Private, you can use dedicated, you can own, or you can share. Public, definitely a lot of people are using the services of one particular service provider. Okay, so this particular slide is to tell you all the available wide area network connection options that we can have. But of course, if I am just a normal citizen, right, I cannot even afford to buy a plane, okay, and I don't have money to set up my network from Singapore all the way to USA, for example, a private dedicated network, then I just need to pay to StarHub lah. I just I pay a monthly service and then I use the services. So these are the options available for you to connect to wide area network. Okay, so now what I'm trying to explain to you now is that each of these options, we want to go through what are the available, okay, what are the available technologies we can use. Okay, what are the available technologies that we can use? So the first one we want to go through is a leased line. So now if it's a leased line, I'm going to ask you, is this private or public network access? Is this a private or a public wide area network access? Who can help me to answer?
Private.
Private, huh? Very good. So this is a private. So leased line means that, okay, you own the connection from one end to another end. You buy the whole connection. That means from ITE to your home, the whole road is yours. Okay? You pay for the whole road, so nobody else can use except for you. For example, if it's leased line. But of course, today's road in Singapore, there's no such thing as a private leased road lah. Okay? All the cars can actually travel on the road because everybody pay the road tax. All right? So the advantages is that it's very simple. Okay, you can maintain the quality because it's yours and then it's always available. Nobody else will use except you. But the disadvantage is that it is expensive. And then it has limited flexibility. Limited means that if I want to go from Simei to your house, for example, then that's my road. So the next time I want to travel from Simei to the airport, then I need to go and buy another road. Okay, so everywhere I want to go, I need to set up the road because it's my own road. So I need to I need to buy the road and own it. So the disadvantage is that it is expensive, okay, and it's limited in flexibility. Only I can use only. Okay. The other one that you can connect, okay, is dial-up. Okay, dial-up is like ISDN, okay, Integrated Services Digital Network. Again, this is an example of a private wide area network infrastructure. Okay, when you do a dial-up, it is simple, available, low implementation cost. Okay, the disadvantage is that it is slow. Okay, in the past, the word slow is very relative. If I am using a dial-up that is ISDN, for example, okay, if I'm using a dial-up that is ISDN, then that was like, during my time, that was like the fastest you can get. But today, okay, we will say that dial-up is actually slow, okay, and relatively long connection time, as if you are having a modem kind of connection. Another one, okay, is the Ethernet wide area network. So the Ethernet wide area network is also a private wide area network infrastructure, okay. So the features, basically, if you cannot remember all the features of whatever benefits, okay, be it network technology, be it other things, you can remember cheap, good, and good service. Okay, so reduce expenses and administration. Okay, easy integration with existing infrastructure or existing networks, and of course, enhance business productivity. Okay, so this is the technology called Ethernet Wide Area Network. Previously, okay, this technology, they were using something called a frame relay and ATM Wide Area Network link. So this is the technology that people use, okay, to describe frame relay and ATM Wide Area Network link. Okay, so they say this commonly used to replace a traditional concept of frame relay and ATM Wide Area Network. So they call this collectively now, they call this Ethernet Wide Area Network. Okay, and another one, we have a multi-protocol label switching. Okay, this is also a private, okay, wide area network technology. So all these are private wide area network technology. Yeah, basically what it does is that it directs data from one router, okay, to the next router based on short paths rather than IP network addresses. So you just need to know what are some of the available private wide area network technology or infrastructure. Another one is wireless. Okay, so we can have a very small aperture terminal. They call it VSAT. Okay, so this one is a technology that creates a private wide area network wirelessly. So you see, it's a wireless private wide area network. So sometimes people have this thing called satellite phones. Okay, satellite phones, they own the entire setup. If I have a satellite and I launch my own satellite, okay, and then I have the receiver on Earth, okay, then I can actually set up my own VSAT. They call it very small aperture terminal. This is a private wide area network. It can go anywhere around the globe because the satellite is always traveling around the world. Okay, so this one also, unless you are a super billionaire, otherwise I don't think we can even afford to launch a satellite. Okay, and today's technology, there are more. Like today, Wi-Fi, we talk about Wi-Fi, we think that Wi-Fi only can serve our house. Okay, there is something called the WiMAX and municipal Wi-Fi, which means that you don't need, okay, a Wi-Fi router inside your house. Okay, your computer itself is able to detect a Wi-Fi network that is maybe broadcasted. Maybe we are in Simei, the Wi-Fi network is broadcasted in Tampines. So we are nearby. It's called municipal Wi-Fi. So this is something new in the broadband wireless technology. So the broadband wireless technology in the past has always been restricted to within the house, okay, or within a building. Today, okay, they are experimenting and have already implemented something called the broadband wireless that is known as a municipal Wi-Fi that can stretch, okay, bigger or further away than buildings. Okay, it can stretch bigger or further away from it. Last time when in 2010 or 11, I used to subscribe to this particular service provider called WiMAX. Okay, which I don't know whether, I think they don't exist anymore. It was very cheap. What I do is that I am able to just use their receiver, okay, a wireless receiver, and their transmitter is actually somewhere in Jurong, and I live in Geylang, for example. Okay, I'm able to receive that far, no? From Jurong all the way to Geylang. Okay, they use worldwide interoperability for microwave access. Okay, but it was very short-lived. For about 1 or 2 years, the company closed down. I don't know what happens. Maybe it's not popular. Okay, and another one is to use the satellite internet. These are all private wide area network infrastructure. Okay, so the WiMAX and municipal Wi-Fi, although it's private, okay, but they can share or they can sell the service, okay, to people like me, buyers and so on. Other forms, okay, industry standards, you can use your 3G, 4G, and now today there's an LTE and even 5G networks. All right, these are also cellular connection, cellular wide area network connection. So these are some of the mobile connectivity technology that you can use. You just need to understand some of the technologies available. And then we have something called the VPN. Okay, the VPN is what does VPN stands for? Anybody knows? Anybody knows what's a VPN? It's a virtual private network. Okay, so what it does is that VPN, okay, what VPN does is that VPN use current infrastructure, okay, of a public network and then create a virtual link between the source and the remote site, okay, using public network infrastructure. So it says here, VPN is an encrypted connection between private networks over public infrastructure or public infrastructure. So if I'm using the normal internet that I connect to StarHub, Singtel, M1 and so on, okay, then if I want to dial into ITE, okay, I use a VPN technology to create a private connection which no one else can see between only me and ITE. Okay, but I am using the public infrastructure. I'm using the Wi-Fi, or I'm using the StarHub or Singtel network to be able to connect to ITE. Okay, yeah, but of course the technology uses something called encryption and so on, so people cannot see. They can observe, but they will not be able to understand what kind of traffic, okay, is being delivered. What is the data that's being delivered from the source to the remote site? Okay, so some benefits is that it's cheap. Okay, it's secure, it's scalable, it's compatible with a lot of broadband technology. So these are some of the technology. So to understand, okay, all these technologies will give you the opportunity to decide, okay, what type of wide area network connection, okay, you want to choose for your organization. So this particular lesson is not to tell you that this technology is better than another technology and so on. This particular lesson is just to give you an overview, to tell you what are the available options that you can use when you want to be able to connect to a wide area network. Okay, and the technology is always evolving. There's always something new. After 1 year, 2 years, you notice that more researchers will come out with new technologies. And then they said, oh, this technology can go through wide area network connectivity. In the past, okay, the connection is always wired connection. So if Singapore wants to connect to Japan or Singapore wants to connect to USA, this is a wide area network connection. In the past, it's always a cable. The cable must be laid, okay? Someone or some country or some government must take ownership of this cable, and usually the cable is laid under the sea, okay? So if you want to connect between Singapore to maybe USA, you have to lay an undersea cable all the way, okay? And last time during the tsunami incidents, when there was an earthquake, okay, part of the undersea cable connection was actually damaged. So because of that, there was a loss of internet connection, wide area connection between continents around the world, because the world is still at that point in time physically connected via wire cable. Okay, very strong cables, but because there's earthquake and so on, the cables gets destroyed. Today, all right, because of satellite technology, you notice that satellite is complementing the connection. So if you do not have a full cable connection, you can always use satellite. Of course, satellite is more expensive. Okay, and now at home, in the past, when you want to connect to the internet, you need to use a wire. Okay, you need to use a network cable and connect physically to your computer. But today, because of the wireless technology, you are able to have router that can emit microwave signals, and your computer is able to communicate with the routers wirelessly, and then you can share your internet connection. And of course, today you have your telephone as well. In the past, telephones are just very big chunk of plastic or metal that has wire on. Today, your telephone is just basically like this, correct? You carry with you wirelessly. All right. So technology is always ever changing. So you need to have an appreciation about all the available wide area network connection links, okay, for you to be able to make an informed decision as to what kind of wide area network connection would be suitable for your organization. Okay, and to do that, you have to answer all these questions. Okay, so what do you want to use your WAN for? Just like just now, I talked about ACL, right? I asked you a question. What is your intention? What do you want to permit or what you want to deny? So in this case, if you want to connect, what do you want to use your connection for? Is it to
Play Warframe.
is it to play what? World of Warcraft? Warframe? Or is it to play Minecraft with your friend? Or is it to make business, to buy things, to sell things? Okay? Or is it to go and study? Is it to go to learn, go to the library? What is the purpose of your wide area connection? So once you have established that purpose, you can decide. Okay? And then you have to ask yourself the next question. Where is the connection that you want to connect to? What is the geographical scope? All right. So the geographical scope will make an issue, right? If you want to connect to US, okay, then you must know maybe fiber connection got bottleneck. You want to have a faster speed network. If you're only connected within Singapore or Singapore to Malaysia and so on, then maybe you said you do not need to have high speed. Or you may want to also check that your destination country has very good network connectivity, okay, for you to be able to decide what type of network connection you want to use. Sometimes you want to use satellite, but then the other side does not have satellite, okay? Or sometimes you want to use wireless 5G technology, but the other side only have a 3G technology, for example. So do you have to look at the geographical scope of your connection as well? Then you have to ask yourself, what is the traffic requirements? Are you going to stream videos? Okay, are you going to be 24/7? You're going to see a lot of people logging in, playing games, watching movies, like if you're watching Netflix and things like that? Or are you going to be an occasional user? Okay, occasional user means that one day, maybe one time, two time, I'm just going to send an invoice out. That's it. That's my traffic requirement. Very low, and it's just data only. So you have to ask yourself these questions. Okay, now once you have established these three questions, then you can decide. You want to use public infrastructure or private infrastructure. If you are very rich, then I say I want to start from scratch everything. Then you can have your own private infrastructure. You can set up your own network, cable and everything. Okay. But otherwise, okay, if you want it to be fast, which is already there, okay, and you don't want it to pay a lot of money, then maybe you want to use a public infrastructure. Because public infrastructure is always cheaper than a private, okay, investment. Okay. And for private, if you want to use a private wide area network, do you want it to be dedicated? That means it's yours. Nobody else can use. Okay. It's dedicated for you and no one else can use. Then you may want to use a leased line. If it's a switch, then you may want to use something like PSTN or ISDN and so on, sharing. Okay. Then if you are using a public wide area network, you have to ask yourself, okay, is it necessary for you to encrypt your data? Is it confidential? You don't want people to know what kind of messages or what kind of data you are sending. Okay, so you have to check what type of VPN that you want to use. Okay, and then after that, other than considerations of all these questions, then come to the most important and critical point. If you want to use public network, then you ask yourself, is it available in the country that you live in or not? Okay, so if it's there, available in the country that you live in, then why not? Then just use it. Okay, and then after that, you want to be able to compare the costs of all the connection options. Okay, so it's not a very simple, straightforward decision as to like, oh, I want to use circuit switching is better than packet switching. Leased line is better than this. No, it's not the case. Okay, you need to have a proper understanding of the various network connectivity that you can have over wide area network, and then you have to make a decision. Okay, so in life also, when you want to choose the course to go to, whether you like accounting, okay, or whether you like networking, or whether you like programming and business and so on, okay, you have to first ask yourself, right, what is your objective? Okay, is it available for you to take or not? Okay, will it, do you qualify in the first place or not? What are the options available for you and things like that? So there are many questions similar when you are trying to choose a technology or when you're trying to choose a connection. Same thing, you want to buy a house, you have to ask yourself, are you going to have many children? Okay, is your family a big family? Then you need to buy many rooms. Or are you going to have a small family? Then maybe you just need to buy a small room. Okay, things like that. Or you want to buy a car, you also have to make a decision whether are you going to have a 5-seater for 5 people to sit in, or you want to have a 7-seater to put more people when you are traveling. So a lot of decisions, okay, you want to make, you need to answer the questions, and the questions you must answer for wide area network connection decision are all these questions. Okay, so you notice the last portion that I'm talking about wide area network connection is just very generic, telling you the available technology, okay, and then what are the questions you should be asking for you to be able to pick the correct technology. So I'm not here to tell you this technology is better, that technology is better, use this technology, don't use that technology, and so on. It's just to give you an overview and a good understanding, okay, about wide area network services. Anyone has any questions? All fall asleep already. I must be ranting non-stop. Anyone? Any questions? Anybody still there?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for your support. Okay. Next. Summary. Ending ready. Okay. Ending ready. Yeah. So now, before we end our lesson, you need to know we have no quiz for this topic, because this topic to me is more like an understanding. So we don't have a quiz for this topic, but what we have is a discussion board. Okay. All right. So have a good day, and I'll see you again on Thursday.